The stage is set. The lights are blinding. The crowd roars. And in the center of it all, two warriors stand. Khamzat Chimaev, the wrecking ball that smashed through every obstacle in his path. A fighter built on pure violence, unmatched control, and unrelenting domination.
I'm the most dangerous guy here. I got a gun for everyone. I kill everybody. Allahu Akbar.
Across from him, Dricus Du Plessis, the rising star, the unstoppable force, the one man who dared to challenge Chimaev's reign, and a fighter with his own savage will to conquer.
Dricus Du Plessis, remember the name. It will be a household name in the top 10 very, very soon.
This isn't just a fight. This is a collision of ideologies, a clash of beasts, where every takedown, every submission, every strike has more at stake than just a title. It's the soul of two men fighting for their legacy. In UFC 319, one of them will rise, the other will fall. But who will truly own the middleweight throne? This isn't just about who's stronger. It's about who can endure the grind, break the other's will, and emerge from the mental battlefield intact. Khamzat Chimaev's path has been one of destruction, but can he continue the carnage? Dricus Du Plessis has been undefeated, but is he ready to face the reality of Chimaev's cold, calculated dominance? Let's break down this epic clash.
To kill me? I certainly hope so, because if he's not, he's in for the worst night of his life.
A fight that transcended technique, a battle where every move was a message. Hold on tight, this one's going to be brutal. Before the world knew Khamzat Chimaev as a monster in the cage, he was just a whisper, a rumor in the MMA community. Chimaev walks into the UFC like a glitch in the system. He's the fighter who breaks everything, the undefeated juggernaut who destroyed his first 10 opponents with the kind of precision and violence that made people stop and ask, who is this guy? His fights, over in mere minutes, didn't just show his talent, they showed his hunger, the ferocity of a man willing to obliterate everything standing between him and greatness. But let's be real, it's not just his fighting style that grabs the world's attention, it's the psyche behind it. Khamzat doesn't just fight because he loves it. No, Khamzat fights because he has to. It's not a choice for him, it's an obsession to dominate, to break, to prove that he is the alpha and everyone else? Well, they're just stepping stones on the way to his inevitable coronation. And when Chimaev locked in with Du Plessis at UFC 319, it wasn't just about winning.
Il arrive à une contact et dès qu'il est au contact, c'est fini. Dès qu'il a mis la main sur son adversaire, c'est terminé.
It was about sending a message. The fight was as brutal as it was clinical. A wrestling clinic that kept Du Plessis on his back, suffocating him with pressure and control. Chimaev had no time for any romantic ideas of sportsmanship. He had a purpose, crushing Du Plessis' dreams, one takedown at a time. His victory wasn't just physical, it was psychological warfare. Du Plessis never had a chance to recover. He was dismantled, a pawn in a larger game where Khamzat was both the king and the executioner. But here's the thing, Chimaev isn't perfect. His fights, while dominant, often lack the fire, the creativity of a true artist. He's a machine, not a poet. There's something sterile about his wins, a calculatedness that makes them boring. Matt Brown called it less than exciting. Khamzat's genius isn't in making you jump out of your seat, it's in breaking your will before you even get the chance to resist. He doesn't fight for the fans, he fights for the win. And that's why he's unforgettable. Not because he's a charismatic champion, but because he leaves nothing in his wake. Just destruction. Dricus Du Plessis entered UFC 319 with everything to prove. A perfect record, an undefeated streak. The world watched as he finally reached the apex of the middleweight division, only to be overwhelmed. Du Plessis was the underdog turned challenger, a warrior built from grit and raw power, a man with a fire that couldn't be ignored. He entered the octagon like a man on a mission, to take down the seemingly invincible Khamzat Chimaev. Every fight Du Plessis had in the UFC was a stepping stone, and UFC 319? This was supposed to be his coronation, but Chimaev made damn sure it wasn't. What was Du Plessis' mistake? He underestimated the inevitability of Chimaev's dominance. Dricus came in with the hunger of a man wanting to take down the king, but he was blindsided by the sheer technicality and control that Chimaev imposed. Du Plessis may have the physical tools, but his wrestling defense was a disaster. Every takedown was a reminder that, despite his toughness, he wasn't ready for this level of grappling dominance. His desperation was palpable, attempting to stand up, scramble, fight for the smallest bit of space to breathe, but Chimaev didn't allow him the luxury of hope. After the fight, many experts, including Belal Muhammad, blasted Du Plessis for his lack of heart. He didn't want to get submitted, he didn't want to get controlled, but he couldn't stop it. It wasn't just about physicality, it was about mind games, and Du Plessis lost the battle of wills before the first round even ended. Du Plessis' spirit wasn't broken by Chimaev's strength, it was shattered by his unyielding psychological edge. There was an arrogance in Du Plessis' approach.
This will mean to me exactly what it meant to beat every other guy before this. It's not about the opponent, it's not about who I face, it's about defending that belt. Every time somebody steps up to try and take it from me. That's all that matters to me.
believing his stand-up could win the day. But against a monster like Chimaev, that kind of belief is a death sentence. And when you combine that arrogance with a glaring flaw in wrestling defense, you have a recipe for disaster. The fight was lopsided. Yes, brutal. Yes, but the tragedy wasn't in Du Plessis' loss. It was in his inability to adapt to the man he was facing. In the end, Du Plessis didn't lose to a man. He lost to the idea of an invincible warrior, a machine that operates with cold precision and leaves nothing to chance. And that's why his loss is unforgettable.
Et c'est une victoire à sens unique pour Chimaev. Bravo, Khamzat Chimaev. C'est le nouveau champion de l'UFC et quel champion! La hype était réelle.
It was a story of a titan who fell not because he wasn't good enough, but because he was simply outmatched by the unrelenting force of Chimaev's presence. The aftermath of UFC 319 leaves us with a new reality. The undisputed ruler of a division that's been desperately looking for a face, a champion, someone who can define its legacy. But beneath that surface, there's a deeper question.
Decision, and no! Undisputed UFC!
Can Khamzat stay at the top? Can he evolve beyond the destruction he's so accustomed to, or will he remain trapped in his own calculated brutality? No, the real test isn't just about beating opponents. It's about evolving past that urge for dominance and becoming the champion who not only wins, but entertains. And what of Du Plessis? Can he rise from this setback, rebuild his wrestling, and finally meet the standard of a true title contender? UFC 319 was a crushing blow, but it wasn't the end. Dricus still has time to refine his flaws, to work on his weaknesses, to make himself a more complete fighter. His hunger for greatness hasn't died, it's just been temporarily delayed. The fire that burned in him before UFC 319 is still there. He just needs to feed it differently. For now, Chimaev is the champion, and Du Plessis is the challenger who came too soon. But the world of UFC is a chaotic one. Where the next fight will take these two is anyone's guess. What we do know is this: neither of them is going anywhere. Chimaev will continue to crush everything in his path, while Du Plessis, fueled by his own fire, will seek redemption. And if these two meet again, the stakes will be even higher. The psychological game will continue. UFC 319 was more than a title fight. It was the moment that defined two fighters, one as an unstoppable force, the other as a warrior who still has much to learn. Khamzat Chimaev may have earned his place at the top, but the question remains, can he hold on to it? Dricus Du Plessis, though battered and humbled, still has a story to tell, and this loss may only be the prologue to a more resilient version of himself. The battle isn't over, it's just getting started.